everybody, welcome to this week's Coach's Corner. So we're going to keep going with our series from last week where we're talking about prepping for your first powerlifting meet. Today we're going to get into the things that you need to think about the night beforehand and the day of, up to really just food and drink. So what would you say are one of the biggest things the night before that you need to think of?
The night before, food-wise, definitely eat. You want to make sure you're eating. Try to eat as normal as you can. If you feel the need to regain some calories lost during your weight cut, if you did one, indulge in a little bit extra, but don't go like overboard. Like if you normally eat like a cup of rice and some meat, don't go for like 3 or 4 cups of rice and meat because you're going to wake up the next day feeling like absolute trash.
Bogged down a little bit?
Yep, bogged down, probably a little bit bloated. If you're wearing gear, you may not be able to get into the gear after that.
And that's really important, being able to actually get into the gear that you're using. Yep. Another thing is basically don't try anything new. So if you don't normally eat pizza the day before you do a heavy squat session because it makes your tummy rumble, don't eat pizza the day before your meet because your tummy will rumble on the platform.
Highly suggest no fried chicken or Taco Bell type food.
Yeah, no fried food in general. Just don't eat fried food.
Bad
it's not good for you anyway. All right, so in the morning of, what should people be thinking about eating?
You want to eat a well-balanced meal. You don't want to eat just like all carbs because then you have nothing substantial throughout the rest of the time, just those carbs. Try to find something that's a good mix of slow digesting, fast digesting, and make sure you have your fats, your fibers, all your good stuff. You don't want to be too full when you first start off, and you also don't want to be hungry when you're starting the day off. So you find that balance, right? You also don't want to take anything in that is going to mess with the digestive system or empty out your bowels in a quick hurry.
No, and that's definitely important, especially if you don't know, like if you know you're going to go to IHOP and they open up at 7 and you're going to eat right before you start warming up your A flight, then you need to consider the food that you're eating then, because you still want it to fill you up, but you don't want it to bog you down if you're not used to having that much food.
Yep. Try to eat like about an hour and a half before you get to there. You have enough time to digest it all.
Yeah, that's, I think, normally what we do with that. And I also think if you are an evening trainer and you normally train in the nights and not the morning, you might want to do a couple morning training sessions and see what works for your stomach right before training, because that'll give you a good idea of what you can eat or not eat. A lot of people make the mistake of they don't normally eat breakfast, so they go in there with an empty stomach and they're completely wiped out for squat. So consider trying something like that as well. What about food to pack for the day?
Food to pack. You can never pack enough because somebody's always going to be hungry. You're always going to be giving out snacks and looking for your own snacks. You want to eat something that's quick, easy to digest, and not necessarily in and out of your system, but you don't want to just sit there. Like I don't want to eat a sweet potato the day of the competition. It's just going to sit there like a rock in the stomach.
We normally eat Uncrustables throughout the day, actually. It's not enough to keep you full, but it gives you some quick energy and it makes you feel less hungry. And I know some people bring in lots of fruit.
Yep, can't go wrong with fruit.
We've seen some people do candy. Personally, we don't do the candy thing, but if you've tried it and it works for you, go for it. I'm not a big candy person anyway, so. And then water, making sure you're drinking all day long.
Water, Gatorade, Pedialyte, BCAAs. If you do BCAAs, make sure they are not caffeinated. Make sure they are caffeinated if that's something you need to get in your system.
Yeah, to be intentional with the caffeination.
Yeah, don't accidentally get caffeinated and then next thing you know you're cranking off the walls as you take in some little bit of pre-workout and you're wondering where the hell it all came from.
Yeah, no, certainly not. We have the drinks that we need to drink throughout the day, the food that we need to pack. What about our equipment?
Bring it all. There's going to be 2 different equipment lists. You're going to have your competition equipment list, and then you're going to have your backup in case my competition stuff busts type of list. Knee wraps, knee sleeves, shoes, lifting or otherwise. Probably a nice pair of slippers or Crocs afterwards. So your feet can relax and kind of decompress. Your singlet, you ain't going to get shit done without your singlet. Your belt, wrist wraps.
Mouth guard
if you're so likely. Shaker cup
or
2. Bring a shaker cup or 2. And don't bring the ones that you really, really like. Bring the ones that you don't like that got all the funky stuff wrong with them so that if they get stolen or lost, you're not out of whack. And you don't forget them in your truck. And they come out like baked nasty.
Disgusting.
Yep.
And by stealing them, I don't mean people are going to walk around and steal them, but everything is such a jumble that day that a lot of times you set it down and forget. Someone picks it up thinking it's there. So don't bring something you absolutely love because it might go missing.
Shaker cup wise. Bands for stretching, warm up.
Yes.
We've forgotten those too many damn times. And then obviously if you're lifting equipped, bring whatever you're normally going to wear for the competition. So shirt, suits. If you have backups, bring the backups. If you don't have backups, then make a good friend that you might be able to get a backup from.
And on the lady side specifically, so obviously we have our special issues of, bleeding once a month, and then also urinary incontinence. So I want you to consider bringing things for that time of the month, even if you're not close to it, because you never know what can happen. So I always bring extra pads. If you use tampons or whatever, bring those, and then extra underwear. And if you do have urinary incontinence, go ahead and bring, I call them pee pads. I don't know what they actually call them, but bring those with you too. That way, if you accidentally do dribble on the platform, you don't feel embarrassed, even though everyone does it at some point. It's better just to be prepared in that way. And then hair ties are really important. You'll probably lose one or break it, and then you'll be stuck without a hair tie throughout the day. So consider bringing that.
Ammonia. Don't forget your ammonia. Thankfully, everybody's got it, so you're lucky there. But if you got your own special scent, make sure you bring that.
So I think that's about it. That's all I can think of for right now.
Sleep.
And yeah, make sure you get some good sleep in. One other thing with the equipment, if you have never wrapped your knees before that first meet, don't decide to wrap your knees the day of the meet. So it goes along with never trying anything new with food. Same thing with equipment, same thing with warm-up, same thing with training. Stick to the plan. Don't decide last minute to wrap because it probably won't go well. You might be lucky and it goes really well, but consider just sticking to the plan and making sure that you compete the way you train.
Absolutely. That way you can have an enjoyable competition.
And I'm just looking, this is our little list. We keep our own checklist of everything that we bring to a meet. And really quick, some of the other things we had on here were pain medicine. So ibuprofen, if you use that. Icy hot. We actually use Midol if our muscles start cramping up. I know it's weird, but it actually works very well. And pickle juice as well. Extra clothes. So we talked about underwear, but a hoodie or pants, something to change into after the meet, especially if you have to drive home. It's not comfortable driving 3 hours in nasty clothes you've been training in all day long. Headphones and headphone chargers. We actually forgot my headphones in my last meet, and it did not make for a very good day. And then baby powder. Did you mention that?
Nope. Yeah. Baby powder just in case for the deadlifts. And
then cash. So they usually have vendors there, and most of them take card, but we always bring a little extra cash just in case we see something there that we want. Or the venue sells bangs or water or anything like that, and you've forgotten those. So the cash allows you to know for sure that you can purchase them. Well, next week we're going to talk about the timeline of a meet. And then the week after that, we're going to get into actually choosing the weights, choosing the openers. And the last video in this little series will go into the mental preparation. All right, well, that concludes Coach's Corner for this week. Make sure you like and subscribe.